We're a couple of weeks late, but it is time to talk about Bad Batch Season 3. Hello there, welcome back to the channel. I am Grand Moff Tony, and today we are having a look at Bad Batch Season 3, which means I am once again joined by my faithful co-host, the evil puppet master behind the Grand Moff Tony brand. It is my wife.
Hello, I'm wife.
So I thought it might be fun right off the bat to talk about how the Bad Batch first came out, how they were first introduced to us, and kind of go over how we felt about that, because I feel like we kind of had the same reaction to it. When they were in Clone Wars Season 7, and we spent 4 episodes of that 12-episode series setting up a whole new show. How did that go over for you?
Well, you know how excited I was for Season 7 of the Clone Wars, so when we finally got to the Clone Wars, and it was, oh, this is going to be setting up a new show, I was a little disappointed. I do like the episodes, though.
Yeah,
I
the
think
episodes,
they're really good.
They've really aged very, very well, especially since
Yes.
the show itself has actually come along.
Yeah, and I think compared to the 4 episodes that followed it...
Dare we speak the name of the episodes?
Right, I'm not mad about it. I do think it was pretty good. Not thrilled that we spent 8 episodes of the final season. Not wasted, but spent 4 episodes setting up a new show. 4 episodes that were just a total waste of time, in my opinion, before we get to the 4 best episodes in the entire series.
Yeah, so really at the end of the day, we only ended up with a 4-episode season for, like, the most anticipated Clone Wars season of all time, and the Bad Batch had a lot to do with that because the first 4 episodes were spent setting them up. I minded at the time, I did kind of mind a little bit at the time, but ever since the series started, 1 and 2, and I really, fell in love with the characters, going back to those episodes, they are just brilliant.
Yeah, and it was nice to get Echo back, too.
Yeah, it was very nice to get Echo back. And then kind of looking back at the first 2 seasons of the show, I mean, I really like both seasons. I know you have your issues with Season 2, because Season 2 does feel very episodic at times. It's very, we need to get this thing, let's go and get it. Oh, there's a complication. Oh, we got the thing, now let's never speak of it again. That happens quite a lot in Season 2. I am willing to admit that. So taking all that in mind, how do you think, on an initial reception, how do you think Season 3 did in comparison to Seasons 1 and 2?
I think it totally, especially for Season 2, just blew it out of the water. I really feel like they went above and beyond with the season. I know some people had issues with the pacing for the first few weeks, but once you sit down and watch it all together back to back, there are no issues with pacing. I don't know of any episodes that I would remove.
Right.
I feel like they all had points in the episodes that progressed the story, whether that was plot or character development. I think they were all important, which you can't say for Season 2.
Right. I feel like it felt more like Mando Season 2, where it's still adventure of the week, it's still, we've got to go out and get this thing, we've got to go and do this job for this person, but instead of it just being a treasure that they don't get to keep, or something else that really has no bearing on the rest of the story, it's, okay, now we've got this thing, we can use this thing to move into next week's story.
Yeah.
We can now do what we were trying to do in the long run, which, for the first half of the season is Omega's trying to escape from Tantis, they're trying to find out, where it is, and then they're trying to do the whole, oh, we got to get back there to save the clones. And then the second half of the season, once again, is we're trying to get back to Tantis, and it's we got to get this thing, which leads us to this thing, which leads us to this person, which leads us to Tantis.
Yeah, I think especially with a show like this, there's a story to be told. It's not just, we're going to go on an adventure. I feel like a lot of Season 2 was kind of wasted on those episodic episodes where, they could have gone further into stuff with the clones and all that. So
Right.
when you have a story that's this concise and this condensed, Season 3 was just the perfect way to execute it, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, we're very much in agreement that Season 3 felt a lot more like Season 1 than Season 2. Would you say Season 3 was better than Season 1?
I mean, I think I like it better than Season 1. I feel like it'll have a little bit more rewatchability just because it's so intense.
It is pretty intense.
I felt so stressed, especially the first watch through.
Oh god, yeah.
Pretty much every episode, I was stressed about something or another, which I love. So
And I feel like that all comes down to one very big and very important, very missing character, which is Tech. Obviously, they killed Tech off at the end of Season 2.
poor Tech.
We were kind of umming and ahhing, oh, are they going to do a Star Wars? Are they going to bring him back? Is he going to be a bad guy? All this, that, the other. Really, I think what Tech's death did, it lets the audience know these guys aren't safe. No member of this crew has got plot armor. We don't see them anywhere else in the timeline. The Havoc Marauder isn't one of those ships in the background when they all go to Exegol to go and beat up Palpatine. And now we know why. Now we know why it's not there. So it does create an air of impermanence around the characters, where it leaves you thinking, I thought these guys were all going to be okay at the end. Maybe they're not. And I think that's a very bold decision to kill Tech off, keep him dead, and then have that be the payoff, really, as you spend the rest of the season stressed out of your mind about who's going to be next.
I'm not gonna lie, I did kind of fall into the Tech is still alive group, and every time an unfaced person, like a masked person, came in, I was like, oh, is it gonna be Tech? And then especially, was it the last episode?
Oh, yeah.
The helmet comes off, and you can see it has the same sort of like goggles on the inside of the helmet. I was like, oh, is it Tech? And then Wrecker just slams his face in the thing. I was like, oh, okay, so not
He just
Tech.
gets utterly destroyed. Oh, no, that's not
Yep,
Tech,
not
no.
Tech. That's okay.
It's okay.
And I think one of my favorite pieces of Star Wars is Rogue One. And it is because they were bold enough to kill off the entire cast, and that's it. There's no bringing you back from a Death Star explosion.
Right.
So I love how bold they were in that. So to actually stick to Tech being dead, I do appreciate it.
Yeah, it shows a lot of nerve. It's very adult storytelling, I think. It's very mature, it's darker, and I feel like you feel Tech's absence all the way through the season. Like, there are so many instances where it's like, if Tech was still around, he would have figured this out, like, so quick. The M-count thing, he probably already knew what an M-count was before they even went into it. He just assumed everybody else also knew.
Right, just like he was like, oh yeah, of course Omega's a clone. How did you guys not realize that?
Right, and it's every time they're fumbling with his data pad, they're trying to hack into something, you're just like, Tech, where are you, man?
So sad.
You really do feel his absence the whole way through the season. It's very, very hard.
Yeah.
But of course, Tech wasn't the only member of the family that we lost this season. We lost the Havoc Marauder in very spectacular fashion. Like, I did not see that coming at all. Like, to lose that ship is such a good ship. It's so nice looking, and it's their home, man. They've always called it their home, you know?
It was one of several moments in the season where I was just, it totally came out of left field and took me by surprise. But I have to say, I think it was a necessary loss because they did see it as their home. And I think as long as they had the Havoc Marauder, Pabu would have never become their home.
Right, they would have
So
constantly been sneaking off on adventures.
Right, getting themselves in trouble, being, maybe bringing the Empire back into their lives. So I think it was necessary to get rid of the Marauder so that they could have their happy ending on Pabu.
Right.
And not feel this calling to another home. And
Yeah,
move
let's
it
go
on.
out and stir up some more trouble and start some more fights. No,
Yeah.
they get a proper retirement, and I was very, very happy with that. I mean, I was saying going into this season that my Sunshine and Rainbows ending that I would really like is that they all get a happy ending, and I never thought it was going to happen in a million years. I'm always there, especially when it's characters that I like this much. Like, I love these guys, and I wanted desperately for them to have a happy ending. So when it happened, I almost didn't trust it, because I was like, oh, happy ending. And then, of course, it fades to black, and then it goes to the epilogue, and I was like, happy ending? Please?
Half expecting Asajj to come back and murder them all
Right.
on Pabu or something, I don't know.
So, season 3, it always felt like each episode was building on the last one, and it's building up to a resolution. Like, the series was constantly feeling like it was building up to the end. They escaped from Tantis nice and early, which was something that I was worried about. I was worried that Infiltration and Extraction, the 2-episode mid-season finale, I was worried that that was going to be breaking into Tantis and breaking Omega out, and that would have meant we would have spent half the season with just Hunter and Wrecker wandering around looking for stuff to try and find Omega, and Omega and Crosshair just being sad in each and every scene.
Yeah, which would have been not great.
No, it wouldn't have been very good at all. It would have made me very, very sad indeed. And so I'm very, very grateful that I think it's even the end of the premiere. We got those first 2 episodes. At the end of that, they're out, and the season can continue. It's really, really good. But more than just escaping Tantis nice and early, I appreciated they found a really honest and well-written way to have a reason to go back to Tantis for the finale. I was worried that we were going to have another season where Omega just keeps getting captured and needs rescuing again. I appreciated the fact that every time she was captured, she rescued herself, pretty much. Like, she did it on her own initiative. She got out of Tantis the first time, took Crosshair with her, and she made the decision to go back to Tantis to try and protect everybody else. Lots of growth for Omega in this season. This was her best season, I think.
Yeah, she was so confident. I feel like she's always been pretty confident, but I feel like she really came out of her shell this season, took control, and was like, yeah, I'm gonna free that Zillo Beast, and we're gonna get out of here ourselves, because I know my brothers are here, and they need my help to help me, so
Yeah.
let's do this, sneak in the walls.
And I love that there isn't even a moment of hesitation at the end when the kids are getting on the ship and Echo's going back in to go and help the team out. There isn't even a moment of like, oh, you should go with the kids. You should go and be safe. It's just, you ready to go back in there and kick some more ass? Yep, let's do this.
Yeah, because if it was Hunter, he probably would have been like, oh yeah, you should go too. Don't worry, we got this.
So speaking of like character growth, let's talk about some key character moments in the season. Like, I feel like everything with Crosshair was just perfect. Like, everything with him was great. Like, when he was imprisoned, when he's just given up and he's broken, and then he comes back and they have that sort of rough reunion for that snow episode. They sort things out. He's got the hand tremor thing going on, even more so than season 2. I do love Crosshair's episodes in season 2. He's got 2 of the best episodes in the whole series. I feel like this really was Crosshair's season. Like, it really focused in on him. We got to deal with who he is and what he's dealing with, and he comes such a long way as a character without changing who he is as a person, because we love him. He's a lovable jerk through most of the series.
Yeah.
Even back in Clone Wars, he was a lovable jerk. Like, this is the problematic one. This is the one that doesn't get invited to the family parties because he's going to say something and upset everybody, and that doesn't change. He's still that person, but he's so much warmer, and the way he talks to Omega like an overprotective uncle, it's so cool. I love every moment with Crosshair in this season.
Yeah, I feel like he got such a well-rounded character arc, and especially, like, it really just felt like it came full circle, and he was the person he was before, but also matured from his experiences, a little bit more at heart, like you said. And as somebody who wanted absolutely nothing to do with Omega in the very beginning and onward, I think, he joined the Dad Batch.
Oh, he did. Yeah, he joined the Dad Batch in a big way. So they didn't get as much focus this time around, but what about the rest of the batch? Like Hunter and Wrecker, and even Echo was in as like a part-timer this season.
Wrecker had me nervous the entire time. He was just constantly, like, getting into trouble, getting himself hurt, continuing to ram giant monsters to help his brothers. Like, I just needed him to chill for 5 seconds so I could relax. It was really stressing me out. But I feel like you can only take so many explosions to the head.
Yeah. And even Crosshair tells him at one point, he's like, did you really think that tackling that giant monster was a smart idea? Like, at the time, yes. I love that.
Wrecker smash.
Yeah, because he goes through the whole Order 66 thing in season 1, where he keeps banging his head, and every time you're like, oh, no.
You can feel it coming.
Yeah, and in season 3, it just felt like, are we going to lose Wrecker? Like, is he going to pick a fight with a monster that he can't take? That's how it felt the whole time he was running at a monster. It's like, oh god, is this the one?
And especially when they're fighting the CX troopers, the whole time, I was like, they're going to murder Wrecker because he's just not slowing down. He has a giant gash on his chest. You can only have so many stim packs when you're low on supplies. Like,
right.
He was just stressing me out.
That last shot of him in the training room when Hunter and Crosshair have gone after Hemlock, and Echo's just trying to get him to sort of like, hey, where have they gone? And he just looks so vacant and so run down, and you're just like, oh my god, are we going to lose him off screen?
Yeah.
Like, is he just going to die? Like, the next time we see him, is it just going to be Echo, and he's just going to have this really sad look on his face, and that's how we find out Wrecker died? No, absolutely not.
Yeah, I would not have been okay with it.
No, I would have been very, very upset.
And as far as Hunter goes, I feel like, not that he necessarily, like, took a backseat this season, but I don't have a whole lot of memorable moments of Hunter from this season, like, not as much as I would, like, Crosshair. I obviously enjoyed the episode where they went to the snow planet.
Oh, yeah.
And then they had their little tiff and had to learn how to trust each other again.
Yeah.
I know some people didn't really care for that episode, but I definitely think it was necessary because, I mean, people were going to complain anyway.
Right.
If Crosshair had just come back and everyone was all hunky-dory and fine again, people would have complained about, oh, well, how are they just trusting him all over,
Right.
and just accepting him back into the group. So I definitely liked seeing them kind of struggling to get back into the groove of things, getting to re-know each other. As far as that, I mean, that's really all I remember of Hunter from this season. He was just kind of took a back seat, I feel like, to leading. I don't know if maybe he felt like it was all his fault. He lost Omega and Tech, and
so maybe he's kind of stepping down from a leadership role and kind of just putting himself on the same level as the rest of the team rather than being their designated leader.
Yeah, that's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah, I mean, that that tracks, because it was his idea to go after Crosshair. It was his idea to go to Tarkin's base and try and get the coordinates for Tantis to go and rescue him, and then what happens? They run into Saw Gerrera. Saw Gerrera does what he does best, which is ruin everything, and we lose Tech. I imagine, he probably took that really hard.
Goddamn Saw Gerrera.
Damn you, Saw Gerrera. When he died in Rogue One, I'm like, oh, that was a shame. I liked him in Clone Wars. Now it's just good. It's a good thing that happened.
About time.
So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the bad guys, because I feel like Bad Batch had some really good bad guys. Like, Dr. Hemlock continued to be an incredible villain, like, so creepy, so unnerving, and the fact that he's a cloning expert, I feel like makes him a perfect villain for this kind of series.
Yeah, well, you know how I feel about Hemlock.
I know exactly how you feel about Hemlock. Hemlock's hot.
Yeah, he reminds me of Endgame Hawkeye, which I didn't like at the time, but I feel like Hemlock does it better.
I feel like he does, yeah.
But he's just such a good villain. He's so creepy, but he's also so full of himself.
Oh, yeah.
In a way that's just so satisfying when he's like, I'm irreplaceable to the Empire. And then at the end, Tarkin's just like, yeah, I'm going to take all your funding to my project.
Yeah.
Just kind of bury him in the back.
We're not going to talk about this anymore. We're just going to move on. Death Star.
Yeah. And it was so satisfying. The most memorable moment I remember from the second season when he gasses Crosshair and he's just, oh yeah, I've built up a tolerance because I'm a badass, and he's got that hand tremor thing going on.
Oh yeah, he's constantly gripping his wrist and like flexing his fingers with his one gloved hand.
Which is definitely a stress response.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was a really good villain. I love how he fell apart at the end because everything was falling down around him, and he's like, I'm gonna take this child hostage because I don't see it as a child.
Yeah.
And hope that they don't shoot me off the bridge because they're not going to shoot you off the bridge.
I mean, he had a hell of a day in that finale. Like, one thing after another, like, this has happened, Tarkin's calling you, this has happened. He just, like, I think there's a moment, like, because throughout the whole series, he's got this very calm, very monotonous voice. He never raises his voice. But when Tarkin calls him and says, oh, I hear you've lost control of the Zillow base, he has just a brief moment of, I have got it under control. And then he brings it back down again. And he's like, oh, he's coming apart.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love it when a stoic, quiet villain starts coming apart because his plan's going wrong. I love that.
To be fair, it's never a good day when Tarkin calls.
No, it's never a good day when Tarkin calls. And how did he know? Like, how does he always know? Because he doesn't know about what they're doing on Tantis, but he's obviously got eyes and ears there because he knew straight away when everything went wrong.
He has eyes and ears everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's just, Emperor's right-hand little mole.
Oh, yeah. Love it.
Well, left hand, I guess, if Vader's his right hand.
Yeah, I suppose so. And then, of course, we did have a returning villain with the return of Admiral Rampart in his new rugged Agent Callus Season 4 beard. I loved that. I thought it was great seeing him again. And just seeing how far he's fallen since being just completely set up by the Empire.
I have to say, I was a little surprised he didn't shave his beard. I guess it makes sense if he's trying to fly under the radar, they might recognize him clean-shaven.
Right.
But I was like, he doesn't really look like a captain with a full beard.
Right.
I don't see a lot of Imperials with facial hair, but
yeah,
it's fine. It worked for me.
I think we have to talk about the Rampart scream.
Oh god, it's so good.
Quite possibly my new favorite entertainment scream of all time. Like, move aside Wilhelm scream. Rampart's scream is just incredible.
So good. Even the second one where Wrecker's just pulling him back into the forest, like covering his mouth, like screaming under his hand.
Oh my god,
good.
It was incredible. Like, and that's just he puts out such an image of high and mighty, in control, better than all of you, and then he has that scream absolutely perfect, and I love every bit of it.
I would have loved to hear a scream like that from Hemlock falling off the bridge.
Oh god, yeah. Oh no, Hemlock went down. He went down quiet. Like he went down like a quiet villain, but he did get utterly wrecked in those last few shots.
Oh, so good.
So did Scorch too. Scorch very much got what was coming to him, and I will not apologize for that point of view.
Yeah, Scorch. I'm gonna censor that. It's okay.
So the Bad Batch, as it's been going along, has had a habit of introducing and reintroducing existing characters, and this time around, it was the turn of everybody's favorite Night Sister assassin, Asajj Ventress, was back once again.
Yes.
Loved it. I loved every minute of it. I don't care that we didn't find out how she did it. She's a Night Sister. What do you want?
That's all the explanation I need. I mean, really, if it were any other character, Jedi, whatever, I'd be like, yeah, that's a little annoying. But, you know, there was green mist coming out of her body when she died, apparently. I think the line about, I've got a couple lives left, I think it was funny. I know some people didn't appreciate it.
I thought it was brilliant.
It's a good nod to, like, we had a situation, I'm a Night Sister, I took care of it.
It was very Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman. Like that line in particular, I was just like, I like that. I like that very, very much. And her role in the series, the fact that she just comes in for one episode, does a few M count tests with Omega, finds out something interesting, and then off she goes. She doesn't take over the story for a couple of episodes, which I feel like would have been kind of jarring. She just sort of shows up and then she's going to hang around. I feel like just the one and done really worth it. It just left me wanting more of her. Like, when are we going to see her again?
Yeah, I hope we get some sort of maybe like Tales of the Night Sisters or something that kind of explores her after. I have a feeling we might see her again in either the Next Jedi video game.
That's possible.
Because they're definitely going towards the path. We know that Quinlan is involved with the path.
Yeah.
We know that they're in love.
Yeah.
So the likelihood that she's possibly going to go and find him.
Yeah, maybe.
And help him with the path once she kind of gets out of her
stoic loner phase.
Yeah.
Everyone's got to have one. She's got the hair for it as well.
Yeah.
And of course, I should point out that, while I haven't read Dark Disciple, I've never been able to track it down. I do know what happens, and I do like what happens. It's a very, very good story from what I've heard, and obviously I care about the books. I've got most of them. I am also open to the books being changed a little bit every now and then. Like, it's Night Sister stuff, man. Like, they just don't stay dead. That's their whole thing.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to Star Wars books, they're fun, they're a good time, but I kind of see it as you're hearing a story from a different point of view. And I kind of take every Star Wars piece of media as a story that's being told from somebody's point of view. So there might be some discrepancies between certain things depending on who's telling the story.
Right. The broad strokes are there. We know that Ventress has been through something. We know that she is very, very different from the last time we saw her. I'm just eager to explore it the next time it comes up.
And I think, to a point, even in like all of the title crawls and stuff like that, it's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So these are folk stories being told a long time in the future. Stuff gets misconstrued, can be changed, whatever. So that's how I look at it. When my grandpa tells a story, he caught the fish. The first time he tells it, the fish was this big. By the fifth time he tells it, the fish was this big. It doesn't mean he didn't catch the fish.
The broad strokes are still there. He caught a fish. That's all you need to know. I mean, it's kind of over the top to say that because Ventress has returned, well, we may as well throw this whole book out. It doesn't matter anymore. This is a continuation, and I like the fact that as soon as the trailer dropped, and obviously Ventress is in the trailer, they came out immediately and were just like, we know about the book. We're still following the book. Any story that we tell, the book still happened. I prefer the idea of bringing her back to life to tell more stories rather than trying to go back in her timeline and try and squeeze it in somewhere else. I think it just opens it up for way more narrative freedom to do it this way around. Alright, so speaking of people maybe going a little hard on things, myself included, let's talk about that CX Trooper and some of our favourite crap CX Trooper theories, including my own theory that it was either going to be Tech or my one that was kind of right. As the series was going along, I kind of speculated that this was going to be a one-man Imperial Bad Batch, that Hemlock had just taken like the best, most important parts of the Bad Batch and smashed them into one guy. I liked that idea, but obviously at the end of the series we find out it's not just him. There's a squad of them. There's kind of like an evil Bad Batch that comes out just for the finale.
Yeah.
But what were some crap theories that you liked?
Marek 2.0.
Yes, here we are again with Marek again.
My favorite bad theories were it was going to be Cody. It was going to be Tech, which I fell into that one a little bit.
Yeah,
just because I didn't want Tech to be dead.
Yeah, I leaned in on it. I thought that's a good way back for Tech.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't hear a ton of theories this time around, but I also stayed off of social media a lot more.
Right.
The experience with Ahsoka was so exhausting.
Yeah, it was every week.
And it was, people hating every episode, and it's like, I was really enjoying knowing it, so I just removed myself from that. And I kind of stuck to that with Bad Batch. So the only ones I really heard were that it was Cody, and then that it was Tech, or that it was Gree or whatever.
Yeah.
A couple different weird off-the-hook ones.
I definitely heard the Cody one. I definitely heard the Cody theory because he has that one episode in season 2, he goes AWOL, and then we never see him again. I could see it, but I could also see, like, why would they try and cover that up? You know, like, if he left, he left. And they're obviously salty about it. So I think he is genuinely out there somewhere, just living his best life. Maybe he's fishing, I don't know. But, of course, the big reveal at the end, the helmets come off, they're just clones. Just like the last time they ran into a CX trooper.
Yep, it's
I don't know
just a
why.
dude.
It's just a dude, and I don't know why. It's every time there's a masked or helmeted character that shows up in Star Wars, and every time we're in a time period where a big name character is absent from the story, we just lose our minds a little bit. We really do. We go a bit off the cuff, and we just start speculating, and that's fun. Like, don't get me wrong, it's fun to speculate. I was all over the Snoke theories back in 2015. Like, I loved that stuff. I liked the fact that, once again, just like Marok, it just turned out to be just a dude.
Yeah, and it happened again with Tales of the Empire. People were like, "Oh, Marok is in it. We're
Yeah.
finally gonna figure out who he is." No, he was. Just
He's in that
scene.
one shot that was in the trailer. Like, his whole involvement in the series was in the trailer.
I think that was one of my favorite things about Ahsoka was that Marok was just a guy.
Yeah, I loved
Not
him.
even a guy because he was dead.
Yeah, he's just a dead guy. Some dead guy. Alright, so let's go over our thoughts and feelings on the finale. What did you think was going to happen going in? Like, what was your best case scenario?
My best case scenario is that everybody makes it out, lives happily ever after, bad guys die, and they get to live happily ever after on Pabu, which I guess I sort of got.
Yeah, sort of got that.
That was what I wanted. It wasn't what I expected.
Right, and that's very important distinction there.
Yes, I expected to lose at least one of them. For a second there, I thought we were going to lose all of them.
Yep, when they all got their asses kicked in the hangar bay, I thought, oh dear.
Yes. So surprised when they chopped off his hand. I was like, oh, and then they cut away, and I was like, oh, I was expecting, like, Hunter to throw a knife and stop it, or no, it just happened.
No, it just happened. He just goes straight for the hand,
Yeah.
and what a great way for him to get over his hand tremor. just lose the hand.
Now he'll have the stillest robot hand in all the land.
Oh, yes, he will. Should get Echo's hand. That was a good hand.
Yeah. Did he keep the hand? He should have kept the hand.
I feel like he kept the hand. I only noticed on our rewatch that the hand wasn't articulated at all. It was just a standard droid hand that was just... Because I thought, oh, he's got his hand back now. He can do all this stuff again. No, it's just that. Like, he's just using it to rest his blaster on because it's just a hand. Yeah, I definitely thought we were going to lose somebody, especially when... I'm not sure... It is the finale when Crosshair goes on his little rant about how he's going to go in, he's going to do it himself, he deserves it, he's going to plan 99 himself. And I was like, oh, no, you did it. You beat the redemption curse. Like, you get to live. And he does, which is great. But for that brief moment, I was like, okay, we're probably going to lose Crosshair. I was preparing myself for that. I had started to feel like maybe we were going to lose Echo as well, because obviously we talked about Rex and Wolf and Gregor later on down the line, and where's Echo if he's not with them? So I definitely thought we were going to lose Echo. I guess now we know he's off on Pantora, Witness Rehabilitation and Relocation Program for clones. And I feel like with a title like The Cavalry Have Arrived, I feel like we were certainly expecting certain characters to return. Like maybe a little appearance from Rex.
Yeah, and but I'm not mad about it. I feel like he was a nice treat to the series. It was great to see him and what he was doing at that time, but he's not a part of the Bad Batch.
No.
And I think to have the ending just be the original Bad Batch looking out for each other was really impactful, and I think we didn't need to see what happened to Rex. We know what happened to Rex.
Right.
And, some people are like, well, why didn't he join the rebellion earlier or do whatever? If you think about it, the first season of Rebels, there is no unified rebellion at that point.
Right.
So there was no rebellion for him to join. In this series, his goal was to free the clones, and we know shortly after the end of the series, the clones have been decommissioned, because by the time you get to the Kenobi series, they've already been decommissioned.
Right.
They've moved on to stormtroopers. In my eyes, there was nothing left for him to do at that point. He took his retirement, and it checks out that Wolf didn't join him in the series, because if you watch Rebels, he's still loyal to the Empire. He calls the Empire when he sees a Jedi. He's like, hey, come help us in the desert. And they come, so you can tell that he's still loyal to the Empire, so it wouldn't have made sense for Wolf to join Rex at that time.
Good boy. Alright. You getting in on this action, are you? You can't do that close to the mic, mate.
All right, we're now joined with a third member.
Yeah. The real brains of the operation has joined us.
Yeah.
Don't think he appreciated that. But yeah, no, it made perfect sense to me. We had Wolf for that one episode. We got to see what he was doing. It's obvious that he's got some doubts even at that point because he lets them go. You know, it's not like they have a situation where he runs into him. And I've been looking forward to like a Rex versus Wolf for a really long time. But it made more sense this way. Like, Wolf knows he's got a job to do, but that's Rex and it's clones. He's not going to do that to Rex and clones. Like, he's just not going to do it. I feel like it really made me like Wolf even more than I already like him, and that's already quite a lot. So yeah, I don't feel like we needed to see them again because, like you said, we know what they're doing, and the next time we see them, we know exactly where they're going to be.
Yeah.
And I think speaking of story arcs that get left hanging that finally get resolved, what about the stuff with the Zillo Beast?
Oh, it's so good. Every time we watched Clone Wars, I was so pissed when we watched the Zillo Beast episode. I was like, just let him do it. Just let him kill Palpatine. You know, he's gunning after this guy. He's gonna save the universe. Just let him do his thing. And of course they killed him.
Every time I wanted to end differently, but it doesn't. It ends the same way.
Every time.
And we get left with that cliffhanger every single time, and it's never had a resolution. And I have to admit, when he comes back in season 2 and they've got the clone Zillo Beast, I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's what happened to the Zillo Beast. I was not expecting the Zillo Beast to come back for the finale. Like, and what a way for him to come back. Like, just
so
absolutely destroying Tantis from the inside out.
The Zillo Beast finally got his redemption. I would, however, have liked to have seen the Doctor from that episode.
Mm-hmm.
The pink lady.
Yeah.
She was pretty good in that. I feel like she actually cared about the Zillo Beast, which is probably why she's not in it.
Probably why she was dropped from it, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, it's just, it's one of my favorite arcs just because I love the Zillo Beast.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know, it's really cool. I love how he just guns for Palpatine and just tries to murder him.
Yeah.
Which would have been totally justified. He was more sentient than they thought, so when he was like, hey, you're not going to kill me, I'll kill you.
I'm gonna stomp on your face. And I feel like while we're on the subject of Tantis and the Zillo Beast and all the various projects, we should at least touch on Project Necromancer. Obviously, big secretive thing. I love the opening episode where Palpatine comes to inspect what's going on. I feel like at that point, when Palpatine is that invested, you know what it is. You know it's his secret comeback from the dead plan that obviously he tries to cash in later on down the line, but now we know why it didn't go the way he wanted it to. We know why he had to start exploring different avenues and how he ended up with his non-force sensitive son clone, how he ended up with Snoke. And I didn't need to see it, you know, I didn't need to see what was in the vat. I feel like we know what was in the vat. It was probably a Palpatine clone, probably didn't look great.
Yeah, maybe an early version of Snoke.
Yeah, because we know from the comics, we know at least by the time of The Empire Strikes Back, he's got clones ready to go on Exegol. I feel like Snoke was already kind of in the works at that point, if I'm remembering the comic rightly. I've only seen panels of it.
Well, if you think about it, in the sequel trilogy, Luke and Leia are in their 50s, 60s, so it's not totally unreasonable, you know, and they were born on Empire Day or whatever, so it's not unreasonable to think that may have been a very early version of Snoke that they were then able to replicate right away, because, I don't know, he looks old as hell.
He does.
So, I don't know if they gave him some of the quick growth serum that they gave the regular clones or what, but it's not unreasonable to assume that they had gotten pretty close to that far. I know at that point they hadn't been able to replicate the M counts, but...
Right. Now, I feel like what we got from Bad Batch, that was the original Project Necromancer. We're gonna find out how to clone someone and keep their M count. And then when that fails, we get phase 2, which is we're going to create a clone of Palpatine. He's going to be his unofficial son or whatever. And then he just escapes off into the galaxy and does whatever. And that's when they move into, okay, let's create something from the ground up. Let's create a being. Let's create Snoke and see what we can do with that. And, you know, it works. You get a force-sensitive, 100% artificial life form. But Palpatine finds it disgusting and doesn't want to inhabit that. But, you know, he's going to use use it. He's got a use for it. So he sends Snoke off to, radicalize the First Order. At that point, it was do or die time because Palpatine had actually been killed by that time. He had to make do with what he had, and what he had was a body that he could inhabit, but wasn't gonna last very long. It's a long, long line of plan and counterplan, and I feel like we've gotten a very satisfying conclusion to at least the first part of that plan. Like, now we know why it doesn't work, why he has to use backup plans and countermeasures, because his original plan was ruined by a ragtag band of misfit clones.
It kind of reminded me of the Dr. Donna
Oh,
episodes,
yeah.
where it's like, she took on just a fraction of the Doctor and just totally imploded because her human body couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
So that's
a pretty good rationale for why the body was breaking down. And that makes perfect sense. Maybe that's why we're okay with it and so many people are so angry.
Yeah.
More people need to watch Doctor Who. That's the problem. We've talked about a lot of our high points of the series. Was there any part of the series that kind of fell flat for you? Something that you wished happened that didn't?
Honestly, no.
No.
I mean, I'm not somebody who likes to really theorize a lot ahead of time because I don't like to be disappointed.
Right.
So I don't want to go in with these expectations of I think this is going to happen, and then when it doesn't happen, I get upset.
What
so
an
I just
original
go
notion.
I'm the kind of person, if I know it's something I'm going to watch, I don't watch any of the promotional material except for like occasionally you and I will watch a trailer together.
Mm-hmm.
But I like to be surprised. I don't like to have too many ideas beforehand of what's going to happen. So I went in with no expectations. As we got towards the end, I was a little worried about who was going to make it. But no, I think it was pretty well rounded. There's no episodes that I would have cut out
Right.
or modified, really. I think they all had a purpose in their own way, which I can't say for like Clone Wars Season 7,
Right.
because I would cut all 4 of those middle episodes. I can't stand them. I think it was really well rounded. I really enjoyed it. It was very tense. Had a really great ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I had a great time. It was a good time.
Yeah, I think I told you the one thing that I wanted to see that I didn't see was I wanted to have one more of those big, over-the-top, Avengers-style action sequences where it's one long shot and it goes from one member of the team to the other and they're all just kicking ass and the theme tune's blaring in the background. And I feel like the further we got through the finale and the more they got beaten down and just utterly wrecked, basically, one scene after another, the more I was like, I'm not going to get that scene. But that's okay. We kind of got it with Hunter, Crosshair, and Wrecker versus Ventress. They had that little brief flare of the theme tune, and I was like, I'll take it. No, I'll take it. Echo's a part-timer. Tech's not with us anymore. I'll take it.
Yeah, and it was fun. I really enjoyed that fight, too.
Yeah, that's true. They tried so hard. I think one thing that was missing, that I'm glad was missing, like something that I didn't want to come back, screw Sid. Really just screw Sid. Like, I never really liked her character. I tolerated her, and then she pulls that thing in season 2 and just betrays them. She betrays them again in season 3, but she does it from off screen.
Right.
Like, I didn't need to see Sid again. I didn't need a redemption arc for her. I feel like Crosshair was the only redemption arc I needed to see, and I got it. I got exactly what I wanted. I got a redemption for Crosshair, and he lived to enjoy it, and that just made me so happy. I don't need to see Sid. I think she's in the same sort of bracket as, like, DJ from Last Jedi. Some people in the galaxy just suck. Like, it's an important message. It's not a nice message, but it's important.
Yep, sometimes people just suck.
Yeah. So, final thoughts on Season 3, the Bad Batch series as a whole.
Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was a series I wasn't really looking forward to at all when it was first announced. I was like, why do we need this? The brand new characters, they don't really mean anything to me.
Right.
And, instantly proven wrong. I love them all.
Yeah.
We even got your grandma into it.
Yeah, we did. My Nana absolutely loves the Bad Batch. She's a massive Wrecker fan, and I think that's brilliant. And I felt the same way about it. Like, I cannot believe how quickly I 180'd on this show. Like, was not super interested going into it. I feel like the distance that you already have to travel to get from Revenge of the Sith to A New Hope is already so far. But my god, if it's not my favorite 3 seasons that you could possibly put in that gap. I think, if I'm being 100% honest with myself, Bad Batch as an animated series, second only to Rebels. as far as I'm concerned. That's a bold statement, but I'm making it.
Yeah.
I'm making it. I will take 3 seasons of Bad Batch and 4 seasons of Rebels over 7 seasons of Clone Wars any day of the week. I'm saying it. That's where I stand. I'm sorry. I'm putting it out there.
I don't know if I agree with you on that, but I will agree to disagree with
All right,
you.
where would you put it? Like, if you were to rank the animated shows, where would Bad Batch end up?
I would put it tied second with Rebels.
Tied second?
Yeah. Because obviously, Clone Wars is my favorite.
Yeah.
And then Rebels was second, Resistance was third, because I actually do enjoy Resistance.
I like
Controversial
Resistance.
opinion.
Yeah, I like Resistance too.
Clone Wars, Rebels and Bad Batch, and then Resistance. And then, well, obviously, and I guess now we have to try and fit in the Tales of series. And
Right, that's a discussion for another time, I think.
it would have to be another video because I have a lot of thoughts that a lot of people don't necessarily agree with.
I guess I'll leave it up to you guys if you want to see us sit down and talk about Tales of the Empire.
Also, let us know if you like this format. If you never want to see my face again, that's fine. Let us know. But if you like these kind of back and forth videos, I know it's a little bit different than the Ahsoka one. Because we're actually on camera for this one. It's just I don't have the time to edit all of the footage over the top this time, so we had to substitute for face-to-face.
I just sit here and talk about Star Wars. She's the one that does all the hard work.
It's a lot of hard work. Yeah, so let us know if you like this format, if, maybe we can do a video a month or something. I'm not going to be a regular part on the channel. I prefer to do the editing and stuff, so
Yeah, you
I will
prefer
continue to do that.
To hide in the background, making everything look awesome.
I try my best. It's not the best, but I'm also not a professional, so you get what you get. I'm not being paid, I'm being held hostage.
And obviously, of course, let me know down in the comments down below what you thought of Bad Batch Season 3. I'd be very interested to hear from all of you. I've really, really enjoyed it. I think this has just been such a cool ride. I am going to miss these characters so much. I tried my best to not get emotional. I am really going to miss these guys. These are some really great characters. I'm going to miss going on adventures with them every week. But I will not miss constantly fearing for their well-being. I feel like that is a stress that I can do without, and I'm already enjoying the fact that I know how their story ends. It was a happy ending. They got what they deserved. I couldn't be happier.
I think if we don't see them again, it'll be okay, because it had a really good ending. But I have a feeling we might see Omega again.
Definitely seems to be something they were suggesting at, like giving us that leap forward, letting us know she's going off to the rebellion. She's probably going to be busy mates with Hera. It's going to be great.
Yeah, because we know they know each other, so it's a very good possibility she eventually joins Hera's team.
Yeah, maybe.
And Hera's a general, maybe after season 4, when the team kind of goes their separate ways.
Yeah. Spectre 8 or whatever number they're up to. So there you have it. Those were our thoughts on the third and final season of The Bad Batch. Great fun talking about it, to be honest. I've enjoyed watching it. I've enjoyed talking about it. Let us know what you thought of the series down below and of the show in general. I'll get back to each and every one of you. But in the meantime, I've been Grand Moff Tony.
I've been Wife.
That was our review of Bad Batch Season 3. You may subscribe when ready. I'm trying to remember what my fucking outline said. Professionals.
He was just cut.
What?
Did you fart?
No, I didn't fart. No. That was the couch.
Okay.
And then of course... Oh, I'll let you do that.
Sorry. I had a point I wanted to make.
Okay, go on then.
I forgot.
Well, that's no good.
I'm thinking. Yeah, it's gone. Never mind. It's not important.
Okay. Well, if it comes to you, we'll just say it and we can put it in later.
Okay.
We probably dwelled on Ventress for long enough.
Yeah.
This is where you say your bit.
Oh, yeah. Hang on, loading.
Awesome.